Alright, everybody, I'm going to just get to it because we have a lot to get to today. Today was February, the first week of the Tuesday Night Swiss. I am playing in the open section, but surprise, surprise, they gave me a forced bye round one. So I got matched in a side game against Nicholas Brayton, who also had a forced bye from the middle section. So although I came in expecting to play up in the open, I instead was paired down. Nicholas, who prefers Nico, so I'm going to refer to him as Nico throughout the video, is relatively new to over-the-board chess. I think he told me that he's played 15 games, so he has a provisional rating. His rating is 1263. I suspect that he's quite a bit better than that. So I want to show you the game. I'm a little bit tired as well. I'm in an earlier schedule. I did want to film the video. And honestly, this past week, I haven't been playing very well. I had hit like my all-time highs and like all, lead chess and chess.com. I was crushing it. And this last week, obviously everything has regressed. And I actually think I'm playing quite badly. It is what it is. It happens. No progress is ever consistent. It's going to be 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Yeah, and with that in mind, Chess Club was packed today, busy. A lot of people there. It was nice to see them all. I kind of got stuck with Nico on the last table. We had to scrounge and look for a timer because we weren't even originally set to play. That sort of thing. As far as playing style, Nico played very quickly. Actually, this is the first game that I hit below the 20-minute mark well before him. He still had like 40, 45 minutes. I didn't get into time pressure. But there were a few situations where I did spend some time. And what's funny is in the post cap, he told me that he had made a few fast moves specifically because he knew that the moves would result in me just like thinking for a while. And I'll highlight those moments. It was interesting. Nico was calling them the critical moments. He's absolutely right. There were a few critical moments. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to preface this game with. It's not going to impact the score. I opted to take a 0-point bye in the open section with the thinking that, look, I'm improving. I'm feeling better. I am getting better. But I'm not going to win any prize money from the open section, so putting myself with a point is really stupid. Instead, I looked ahead, and I will be playing somebody who's like 1,700 next week. And even though I have the black pieces, I'm going in there expecting to win, to be honest. So let's get down to business, Mulan style, and talk about this game. I open with d4, Nico bangs out knight f6, and I play the Trompowsky. After the game, Nico said that he really didn't want to face the Trompowsky. He said he's only marginally aware of it. He said he felt very uncomfortable with the moves he played. He played d5, which is a very typical move. And we'll get through the opening pretty quickly. I definitely had an opening win, which is nice because a lot of my Trompowsky games, I have not been having opening wins. It's been, pretty bleh. These are all the best computer moves. I know the theory here, for the record. He now plays bishop e6, which is a little bit of an awkward move, and this was my first mini decision. I wanted to play either against isolated pawn or long-term play with a slight square bishop to attack the f7 square. The fact that they have these double pawns, again, maybe push my pawns, who knows? Who knows? It's nothing special ever in these spots with the d5 lines, but it's not bad. I thought for a moment, and for some reason, I brain farted, and I thought that he'd get like an isolated pawn. But then I realized with takes, I can develop my knight with tempo, knight c3. I wondered if this pin would be anything special, and I didn't believe it would. He said that, Nico said he was worried about me playing like a queen a4 check ideas, and then playing like the knight and, again, supporting the bishop. But at the end of the day, I thought that he would trade, I would take back, and I thought that was totally fine for me. So I went for it. I thought this made sense. Obviously, he takes back with the bishop. Not surprisingly, I play knight c3 with tempo. And he plays bishop e7. He retreats it. No. Oh, no, that's right. He plays bishop e7, retreating so that he can open the queen onto the bishop. What's funny is I'm not actually threatening to take. Like, pretend I do this. I think if I were to take here, I thought that maybe he had... No, he doesn't have this move, right, because of that. Never mind. Ignore me. What did I see here? I guess there are some lines where when I castle, they're able to desperado with check, like if I was able to take or so, and then, reveal. But that's not what happened. Ignore me. He moves back. I did think this move was kind of awkward. And as soon as he played this move, I went into the think. And the reason why... Come on. Are you getting hissed at? Sebastian's been hissing at Eliza lately. And my normal default is like I want to actually earn this diagonal for my own light square bishop. That's kind of an important diagonal. And the typical play would be to just play knight f3. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It makes, oh my god, you are having the zoomies today. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But I kind of wanted to take advantage of the fact when he dropped his bishop back that I could, again, continue expanding in the center and with tempo. So my default was, of course, knight f3. And then I started looking heavily at e4 ideas. For the record, this is like the very typical idea. Just, put your knights in normal spots, get the bishop out, castle. Obviously, you can't move the bishop here because blah, 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 blah. This would hang. White would just be lost here. So I spent a fair amount of time. I did look at both the queen check, and I know that in a lot of lines you want to put your queen on b3 to attack both the b pawn, as well as continue harping down on this pin. So after calculating for a while, I played e4 because I kept calculating. I said, he can't go here, he can't go here, he can't take, I'm defending, he has to drop. If he drops, I can maybe play d5 with more tempo, keep pushing him back. I own like a massive center. And all those positions honestly just seemed like pretty reasonable to me. Surprisingly, he played bishop e6, and I then calculated, like, should I continue pushing d5? And it just kept looking good to me. I actually thought his best move was to drop all the way back to c8, because if he dropped to d7, which, by the way, he did, I thought I was going to get the dream setup, which, of course, was basically the queen on b3, spiking the b7 pawn, and trying to form an early battery. So already I just thought I was, like, considerably better. I thought the opening was a smashing success, and I liked it. So I played it. Again, I tried calculating to see if there was anything to fear. Given he doesn't have the c-pawn moved, he doesn't even have these like out-wide checks. Yes, I'm not that close to castling, but I just didn't think it was a big concern. Also, I keep attacking him, so I'm preventing Nico from castling. So yeah, so life was good. d5. He then plays bishop d7. I think this is a mistake, by the way. And I continue with my plan, and I go queen b3. Obviously, in this spot, I also was giving a lot of consideration to knight ge2, but I didn't want to blunt my bishop, and I thought that I wanted, again, to maintain this diagonal. So my idea was to get my bishop out and then develop the knight, and I actually thought that it belonged on e2 so that perhaps I could push f4. I didn't want to put it on f3 and prevent me from supporting my pawn chain if I needed to. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Anyway, I played queen b3, and the whole time, anyway, very, very, very quickly, Nico responds with queen c8, which I'm positive is the best move. For some reason, I kept calculating that he'd have to play b6, which is a very awkward move. And I thought the reason this would be a huge win is I'm now preventing his knight, because I think he misplaced his bishop on d7, that his development is terrible. He can't move out wide to a6 because my bishop takes it. He obviously can't play on c6 because my pawn's restricting it. And his bishop is preventing him from developing to d7. So I thought once we arrived in this position, I was just better. However, he did surprise me with this queen c8 move, and I realized in this spot, maybe I don't have anything special. Maybe he's fine. And I thought, all right, like, maybe it's time to just get my pieces involved. I would like to put my rook kind of lined up on the queen, but let's get my bishop involved. I looked at bishop b5, basically the idea of trying to trade off bishops. I looked at bishop e2, but I didn't really think I was going out wide at all. So I ended up playing bishop c4. And the idea here should be pretty clear-cut. I'm threatening, if he doesn't castle, I thought castling was clearly his best move, but if he doesn't castle, I'm threatening d6, attacking the bishop, then he would take, and then I would take the f-pawn with check, and I would screw him up from castling. And I think white would be significantly better there. However, he just castles. So, like, just to give you an idea, this is the line I saw. He would take and then in this position, I just think white's a lot better. The reason why is he can't get the rook involved. His king's kind of in the center of the board, and I've got easy play. So, yeah, but again, none of that happens. So, whatevs. Nico castles, maybe he's out of the woods. I played knight ge2. Again, I'm not sure if it's better. I thought that maybe there's some value to connect my my knights. I thought that maybe I want to leave the door open to f4. Like if he pushes, again, building a center that way. Yeah, so knight ge2, and he plays c6. Nico's been playing very, very quickly. When he plays c6, I do the mental math note, and I know that, like, I can never take this. I take, he develops his knight, like, he's out of dodge. I think that's a big weakness of his position, so I figured I wouldn't take. I then calculated if he takes, Okay, I could take with the knight. His bishop is then ompri and not defended. Plus, there's like, possible forks, checks. And if he moves the bishop away, I'm even looking at sacrifices. Like, let's say he moves up, where he opens up the king, and then I can slide on through. And again, I just have massive, massive pressure and attack. So, so when he plays c6, I realize, A, he isn't really threatening to take, and B, I obviously shouldn't take. So if those two conditions are not there, I should do anything but. My candidate moves are castling, and then moving the rook to pin the queen, basically, or x-ray it long term. I should have moved the rook, but I kept it simple. Keep it simple, so good. And I just castled here. But I actually think this was a better move, to play rook c1. My king is very safe here. I don't think I need to castle right away. And now maybe I am actually threatened to take. Maybe. Maybe, baby. I'm not sure. Anyway, after castles, Nico surprised me with a5, and I kept thinking he was... I don't know. He played a5, and I wondered if he was trying to threaten a4. And this is where I spend, at this point, I'm moving pretty fast because I know the opening through 13 moves. I've only spent 10 minutes. He spent even less than that. Maybe there were a few spots where I spent a couple minutes, but this was the first, I thought, critical moment. And I thought he played a5 maybe because he wants to play a4. And I thought, well, all right, let's really calculate here. If he plays a4, maybe I can just take it. And I thought the whole time he was threatening b5 forking ideas. So then I started calculating, okay, well, maybe I can take the pawn. And if he takes the bishop, I can take the pawn. That's fine. If I take the pawn and he takes my bishop, I then go pawn takes bishop. He goes pawn takes queen. I go pawn takes queen. And then he has to snap it back. And I think I'm winning material there. I take back. So I basically was doing all these calculations about, is a4 a threat? And after a long while, I decide, no, it's not. Then I decide, well, what's good for me? Well, I would love to get my knight to b6, because that's threatening a fork. And I would love to break open the center as well, because his pieces, if you look at how bad his bishops are, they have no mobility. So the candidate moves I had here, after thinking for a long time, after realizing I didn't need to react to a5, because most people would just play a4, for the record. And I don't think you need to. Most people would just play a4 here to stop this move in a spot. But I decided I didn't need to actually stop this, just for the record. If I play h3 and he plays a4, my calculation was knight takes pawn. Obviously, if he takes, I can take back. This discovery doesn't matter. And if he now plays b5 and it looks scary, uh-oh, this is a fork, I calculated just d takes. And I thought, here, if he takes, boom, I take back and all is good. He can't actually pin my bishop to my queen because he has to move the knight first, and then I'd have enough time to take. And if he does it the other way, where takes, I figured takes, he has to take back, and then I thought takes. And if you look at this position, I'm up 2 pawns, actually, not just 1, 2. So those were all my calculations. And anyway, when that went through, I then decided, okay, maybe I should threaten to take myself, and I really couldn't decide between rook a c1 or rook f d1. I thought they were both very, very, very reasonable. But I opted for the rook a c1 with the idea that long term, if we open up this position, I take, he takes, whatnot, I am long-term threatening to take on f7 and reveal my rook on the queen. Plus, I thought towards the endgame or whatnot that opening up in the middle of the board would be a beautiful thing. In any event, once I play rook c1, he plays knight a6, and this is the other idea I didn't really spot. I thought when he played a5, he was maybe threatening a4, or threatening again, b5, a4 ideas, just like building a super pawn chain here. Instead, he played knight a6, and it's very clear he wants the c5 square, and I thought this was pretty reasonable. Now, I'm still thinking, knight a4 might be reasonable. I'm trying to jump myself, whoopsies, to b6, again, playing on that fork idea. And I started thinking, am I supposed to stop this knight a6? Is this, or I can't stop it, it's already been played. Am I supposed to stop the follow-up? And I think for a long time, again. So the last move I thought for 10 minutes to finally play rook a c1, where I realized I could ignore a4. Then he doesn't play a4, and he plays knight a6, a move I was not thinking about at all. And then I see he's trying to jump into c5. And I keep thinking maybe the prophylactic move, Queen c2 makes some sense. Further support the pawn. Maybe spy the h7 pawn at some point. Again, I want to play rook fd1. Maybe that way I'd be threatening d6, things like that. Yeah, and after thinking for so long about all those moves, I then say, wait, I could just take the pawn. And the reason why I came to this conclusion is I thought takes, and if he takes with the bishop, I actually have bishop to d5, I thought, and when we trade everything again, I'm opening up to his queen, all right? I thought if he takes with the queen, I thought that would be very dangerous. There would be so many discoveries, so many like awkward knight moves that again open up on his queen, perhaps. For some reason, I just didn't consider what happened, which is I took, and I thought it would go bishop takes, but instead he takes with a pawn. And the reason why I didn't think this was great, or why I didn't think he would do this, is he's giving himself another weakness. Like, if you look as we're moving from the opening to the middle game, Black has doubled f-pawns, which I've studied this type of position because I played a lot of Trumpowskis, and honestly, it's barely a weakness. Like, this doesn't matter that much, but it is a weakness, especially in the endgame. And then with splitting these pawns, this is another weakness, all right? Obviously, I have the long-term pressure. At some point, prophylactic move like king h8 is pretty decent. Yeah, he now has these unconnected pawns. They're kind of just there. The queen is kind of a sitting duck there, and if I can get a battering ram, I can probably just win the isolated pawn. So I thought that he was giving himself a weakness when he didn't maybe need to. However, it's not so easy to attack it, to be honest. So again, just like the fourth move in a row where I spent a long time because I just wasn't expecting him to go pawn takes. So I go through all the motions, and I realize that I actually don't have an easy way of ganging up on this pawn. Eventually, I thought I probably wanted to play knight d4 to attack it, and then bring my other attackers in. I thought my queen on c2 made a lot of sense, but I kind of was waiting for him to play knight c5, and I thought I would just respond. So I thought about all the things that he could do. I wasn't really ready to play f4 to like rip open the position. I didn't know if I wanted luft. I didn't want to make a hook and like give him potential sacrifice ideas. Maybe I should have played rook fd1. That was probably the best move. But I played a3. Like, this move is probably the best move. And the reason why I played this, and the post-cap, Nico really liked the move. I'm still undecided. Is I thought maybe one of his ideas was playing knight b4. Just trying to control, again, threaten different, forks or whatnot. Not now, because my bishop is taking everything away. But this also prevents, any type of pin. And it frees my queen to leave this square. But maybe it's too slow. Maybe it doesn't do enough. I don't know. In any event, Nico plays f5, pushing pieces on all sides of the board. And I realized, all right, he's trying to trade off his weakness, probably pretty smart. And I thought, okay, I can't take. If I take, he then opens up with his bishop. He takes back. He no longer has the double f-pawns. I don't think white can be better. So then I said, all right, can I ignore this? Should I just play a developing move? And then if he takes, I can just take with the knight, kind of get an active knight, and that's not bad either. And I thought to myself, no, let's play e5. Maybe at some point I play f4 and I just build my center that way. Yes, it opens the door for this long diagonal, which could be scary. But I also thought that maybe I'd have ideas of protecting this piece with a pawn. This pawn with a piece. For example, and this will happen in the game, redirecting my knight to f3. And kind of supporting it that way. And long term, maybe I want to play e6, which also is an idea that I'm kind of preparing throughout the game. So when I play e5, Nico plays rook b8. Very clear, he's trying to own the file. I didn't think at all. This is the first move I just kind of blitzed. And in retrospect, maybe I should be keeping this battery, but I just moved to c2 kind of impulsively. And the reason why I say this is I don't think my queen's doing anything here. It's too slow to maneuver it to that side of the board. And I kind of need to keep my eye on the b pawn. So yeah, I don't know, but definitely an idea. Anyway, queen c2, he then plays rook d8, which is a good move because one of the reasons I liked my bishop here is one of the ideas that I was thinking about with rook d1 or rook fd1 is basically sacrificing for the bishop, and then when they take with the knight, it's removing the defender. So this is one of the tactical ideas. Basically a rook for two pieces. So I thought that him playing rook d8 was nice, because then if I was to go rook takes bishop, he could then take back with the rook, and then he's still defending his knight with his queen. So I thought that was like a very reasonable place for him to put his rooks. In all fairness, when we arrived at this position, I thought that I should be better, but I didn't feel like my position was anything special, and I kind of feel like I futzed it up a little bit, and I was feeling a little bit bad about it, to be completely honest. It happens. Sometimes you're not gonna play perfectly. You got to keep grinding. So he plays Rook D8, and in response, I figured my last piece I haven't really gotten involved. Should I still put it on D1? Kind of, funnel it on down? Maybe. But I don't. I play Rook F E1, and my idea here is I'm looking to play E6, basically get my knight to F4, and then put all the eggs in that basket and try to open up his king by undermining the F-pawn. And I thought that was like my source of play, like that I'm playing this long diagonal. His pieces are a little bit stuck. His knight is off sides at the moment. So that's why I thought my rook, belonged behind my e-pawn. That was my logic anyway. As soon as I do this, he plays knight to c5. And I think the sting of this move is kind of out of the position. And the reason why is he's not threatening to go to e4. I can just take. He's not threatening to go to b3. I can just take. I don't think a4 does anything. I can just take. So it looks like he's getting a more active knight. It's also defended, but I also thought he was kind of like limiting the scope of this bishop by doing that. So so it wasn't too bad. So on my turn, I actually ended up playing knight d4, but I was basically looking at knight f4. In other words, any position where the knight can target the e6 square. But my thinking as well is it's very safe here. I kept looking if there were any discoveries, again, opening up on my knight. I didn't see any. I thought it was like pretty reasonable. And I thought there were some lines that it's better to be on d4 because, if you can notice, this is a forking square. That if I was able to play like e6 and we trade, especially if he moves the the queen, then there's some possibility to fork him and win an exchange that way. So that's why I thought it made more sense to go to d4 rather than f4. Yeah, and I thought I have a real threat here. I am trying to push e6. I'm trying to open up the position. I'll show you one calculation that I had. He then plays g6, which I thought was a really good move. So let's just say he plays something random. What I was thinking is obviously playing e6 here. And then if he takes like that, I actually was going to take on f5. Notice I'm playing the pin here. He can't take, and I'm threatening this bishop and this fork, in fact, with check. And I thought that if we arrived at a position like this, then I would just be winning. So I really liked his move, g6, because now I obviously, if I was able to push and he takes, I obviously can't take the f-pawn, because then he would just be able to take with the g-pawn. So I liked his move, and it kind of made me reconsider if my plan was a good one or not. In fact, I spent another 10 minutes in this one where I really was like twiddling my thumbs, not sure what to do, wanting to play e6 but not thinking it was ready. So I looked at my pieces. I thought, how can I improve my position? I said, all right, this rook a long time ago was eyeing the queen, but now there's a pawn there when he took from b to c. It's not really doing that much here. The more active square is the d file, because now maybe gunning on down, it also serves as a defender for the knight. So I just slid it over. I thought maybe some luft for the king was reasonable, like h3. But beyond that, I was really having trouble coming up with candidate moves. I wanted to, ideally, slide bishop a2 to threaten some kind of, mate or at least attack. But it felt too clunky and slow. And the biggest problem is I just didn't have a great place to move this knight, to like basically, free up a space. Plus, if I ever move the queen, the b-pawn does hang. And that's worth it if I get a good attack, but it's not worth it if it's not there, So that's kind of the thinking. Anyway, after a rook c d1, Nico plays queen b7. He's thinking, okay, the b-pawn's the weakness. There's two attackers, and I go into yet another tank. I'm not kidding. From move 15 to 21, I spent 10 minutes on each of these moves. So like an hour on 6 moves. I maybe spent 10 minutes in the opening. I was down. It's a 90-minute game, so I probably was down to 25 minutes at this point. And again, Nico had an hour. So this is the first game, where every move in this middle game, I was really agonizing over. I was really trying to be precise, and I feel like I probably got myself into some trouble. Anyway, after move 21, rook cd1. Yeah, now queen b7. And the two candidate moves that I was looking at e6 directly, or I was looking at improving move b3. And the reason why b3 I thought made some sense is it blunts his attack. He'd have 1, 2, 3. I'd have 1, 2, 3. I thought maybe he'd play something like a4. In that position, I was considering just playing b4, locking it up, also attacking his knight. Maybe he moves, maybe we then trade, and I was okay with that. But I also thought that if I play b3, he doesn't have to play a4. He can just move back. I thought if I lost the opportunity to push e6, I might not get it again. And I had to calculate. And so I spent more than 10 minutes in this position, actually. I got down. Again, I was below 30 minutes already. I had to calculate. I said, takes. That's probably good for me. Maybe there's a take here. Take like that. Check. I can win it back. If I'm threatening, again, to infiltrate, he can't actually even attack this pawn. And all the calculations I saw, for the most part, again, I spent a long time on this, the end position I saw was this rook would be opening up on the dark square bishop, thereby tying down his queen to the 7th. And after I'd have the next move, again, with these pawns gone, that most likely I'd have some kind of queen check to infiltrate and centralize. And I thought, when the dust settled, I should have the more active pieces, and he would have maybe not no defense on his king, but I would blow out the defenses of his king. So I checked all the different ways that he could capture, different move orders. I think he found the best way to respond, by the way. But I really did a thorough job calculating. So I was proud of myself for this. But I still don't know if e6 is winning or not, So I play e6. He goes bishop takes, all right? I play knight takes. And I thought at a minimum, he no longer has the bishop pair. It's a big thing in the Trumpowski. You give up the bishop pair, but the idea is you do want to win it back at some point. You want to trade that while maintaining their weaknesses. And I think I kind of did that for the most part. So definitely this game I would say was an opening success. He then plays, and this was the intermezzo move that I calculated, rook takes. I saw this, obviously. And now this is key, because if I do something like, rook takes, after takes, takes, I no longer have a piece there to pick it back up. But also, if we ignore that, I don't have a rook that is eyeing the dark square bishop, and that means he can pick up this b-pawn, and then white is worse. However, I saw this move, which I'm proud of. I'm positive this is the best move. And the reason why knight takes is so strong is I'm maintaining my rook on the e-file, I'm locking down the b-pawn, and more importantly, I'm freeing up my queen to be a menace to society, which is what I wanted it to do. So I did calculate all this, actually. Anyway, once I play knight takes on d1, he then takes knight takes on e6. And even here, I calculated for a long time, because I did see I could win a pawn. Takes, or not win a pawn, but get the pawn back. Takes, or perhaps here, which I thought was even stronger, pinning the pawn. And I wondered if actually I should just leverage this pin and not even take the knight right away. And literally play a kind of a savage move, queen c3, which is what I wanted to play here, by the way. The idea, obviously, owning the dark square diagonal, targeting the a-pawn, which would give me these connected outside pawns, but I still can always trade at that point. I didn't. I opted for simplicity. He took back with the f-pawn. And and here I have two options. I thought I could take, or I can play queen c4, which I prefer. For the record, I saw here takes, and as you can tell, he can't take this pawn. I'm defending with my knight, but also his bishop is ompris. But I just wasn't exactly sure what my follow-up was. Ideally, I'd probably centralize my queen anyway, try to gun down the e-file. But I thought queen c4 did that a little bit more eloquently. Obviously, if he moves in, I just take that with check. That's a big problem. He's not really targeting anything because my knight is doing a good job defending. And my only issue right now is I kind of have some back rank potential problems. Yeah, so I play queen c4, and he plays rook c8, which I thought was reasonable, because on a lot of the lines where I check him, this pawn becomes hanging. So I actually thought that maybe this wasn't a bad move at all. I decided to cash back my pawn and just have my activity. So I take, check, and in some lines, obviously, if he ever moves away, the only move is to slide the king over to f8, which, of course, is what he plays. But of course, if he, Actually, there is no other move here. Well, again, here, then the game is over, obviously. He wasn't going to do that. So, yeah, and so when he moves over here, I thought, like, all right, I got to be better here, all right? And the reason why, I've spent a lot of time is his king is exposed. It's open. He doesn't have an open line because my pawns are defended. Technically, I have the 2 against 1 where he has all these pawn islands. And I basically have the battering ram. My queen and my rook are already working together. It's not much, but it's something. I definitely thought, like, this quasi mid-late game that, I'm pushing him around. In any event, I needed to continue to make progress. I wondered how to do that, and I thought I saw how to do that. After king f8, I go queen to e5, and it's kind of it's a very, I don't know, very clever. It might be overstating it, but on one hand, I'm threatening the a pawn, okay, and like the a pawn matters a lot, I thought, because again, that makes these 2 passed pawns on the left-hand side of the board. I'm also threatening to infiltrate on h8, deliver this check. Not so much to scoop up and pick up the rook, but mostly to win this pawn. And I thought if the h pawn falls, he's also just super screwed. So I really liked my placement here. I thought that this was like kind of dirty. Queen e5. He plays king f7. I considered repeating once, but I wondered if I repeated if he would be able to duck the king in. And I went into another tank. Again, I did get kind of low on time in this game. And when I say another tank, I think I limited myself to only 5 minutes here, because it's 90 minutes. You only get 5 additional seconds of increment. So, like, with 30 moves, that's like an extra minute, maybe 2 minutes so far. So obviously not very much. And I wonder if I have something better, if I'm supposed to check him, if I'm missing a move, and I just say screw it, let's just take the pawn. I didn't see any compensation for it. It looked like a pure pawn. Now, I'm not an endgame specialist, but I looked at this and I said to myself, all right, this opponent is 350 points lower rated than me. I'm up a clear pawn in endgame. I still have like 20 minutes. I should be able to win this. And that's how I thought about it, Like, I should. And to my shock, Nico plays queen b5. And yeah, and this is what I meant. So I mentioned at the very beginning of the video that Nico said, he made some moves just to make me think. And I just couldn't, I didn't understand him wanting to trade queens here because, look, I don't think at 1260 has, like, endgame, the sixth sense, like, knowing what a drawn endgame is versus a lost one. But I looked at it and I said that, obviously the only one who can be better is me. I'm up a clear pawn and, things look pretty good. But, yeah, like, for the record, I did trade queens. The move I wanted to play was queen a7, just to keep queens on. So much pressure. And I looked at this position, and I thought that if he plays something like, rook e8, all his pieces are tied down. I just wondered, I wondered if he had a move like, I don't know, queen c5. I thought we kind of get a similar position anyway. Maybe this is better because, yeah, this is better, but I don't know if we would have gotten this. Anyway, the move I wanted to play, queen a7, and I traded. And the reason why I traded is I saw, takes. I know I can't play knight to c3. Hopefully you guys can follow along. I saw he has this tactic. Bishop takes pawn, pawn takes, and then rook takes knight. And that would actually be a total draw. I'd go here, he would take, I'd make some luft. He'd attempt to defend the pawn even. I'd have to run my king in. And hey, maybe he's even better there. I don't know. Yeah, so after c takes b5, I had to calculate exactly like how I'm doing this. And when we were in the spot, I played king f1. For the record, here, let me roll back. Yeah, before I played king f1, like this is what I'm talking about. Takes. And I think this is terrible. I thought, how else can I take this? I did consider, I was really looking at rook e2 to prevent him from coming down. And the reason why is I saw if he pins my knight, this looks really scary. I can play rook d2. He never has this bishop move because my pawn is taking away the b4 square. And I'm cutting off his king. That was like a big thing that I was going for. But nonetheless, I played king f1. The idea is I can always push my rook. I didn't want to even consider or worry about back rank mates. Yeah. He plays bishop f6. Makes sense. He's like gunning down on the b pawn. I play rook e2. I'm protecting. I'm trying to get my king in. And yeah, we play this endgame. Again, I thought, is this winning for me? I don't know. He plays b4. I told him, I said, I don't know if it's like better to have 2-on-1 or 1 against none from my perspective. But I said, 1 against none seems great because like I'm never gonna lose. Like obviously to like a super strong player maybe, but you know against pretty much any of the club, I'm never gonna like lose this position. You know what I mean? So yeah, he plays b4. I just take. He plays rook e. Excuse me. He plays rook c4. He said he was worried about b5 and then a supporting move, but I didn't think it worked. I tried calculating that. Instead, I ignored it. I figured he was going to win the pawn back. I know I just want to basically get my king over here and start pushing. You know, past pawns must be pushed. So I play rook d2 with the idea of, again, cutting off his king, defending my knight, and I'm giving myself an access square for my king. So that was kind of the idea. I thought this was good. He then takes the pawn back. I play f3. I thought this was an important move. A, I'm getting it off a dark square to kind of blunt his bishop. But B, I'm taking away checks on e4, so I can march my king in. So I thought that was a good move. He plays king e6. He's trying to get involved. I play king e2. I'm trying to get involved. He plays f4. I guess he's trying to stop the movement of my knight or something. I don't know. Yeah, he said he was just trying to push the pawns to like maybe make something happen on that side of the board. I play king d3. The idea is if he goes here to trade, I go here. I'm okay trading rooks. I thought if he trades rooks, maybe I can just run with the pawn and I can win. Maybe. Again, I really don't know. He now plays g5. I play knight c3. I thought now this is safe. My idea here is I was looking at these jumps to e4. If he takes the pawn, I actually was going to take on g5, threatening immediately h7. I thought with everything on one side of the board, that makes the bishop not as powerful. And to my shock, once again, I thought this made the life easier for me. Once I play knight c3, oh no, first he plays h5. Then I play king c2, getting ready to play b3. And in this position, Nico shocks me, and he plays bishop takes on c3. And he told me after the game that he thought up the pawn, the knight versus the bishop was just going to be clearly winning for me. But if we get a full rook endgame, even with the outside pawn, that it could just be a draw. And I don't know things well enough, but maybe he's right. So maybe I shouldn't have like even allowed this, to be honest. I just didn't think he would trade because I thought this simplified it, making it easier for me to actually like convert. And I take with the king. The reason why is now I have an immediate tempo on the rook. He has to move back. He moved to b5. I told him that was a mistake. He should have moved all the way back because now I win more tempo on him. Which is exactly what happens. I play b4. Again, note his king is cut off. I thought this should be a very simple win. He plays g4. I didn't want to take, and then maybe he makes his own pass pawn, and then I might have to worry about something, you know, as far as defending. So I just decided to ignore his pawn pushes. I played king c4, again, attacking his rook. That's why I thought the rook b5 was a bad move. Now he drops back to b8. I just push the pawn. I go to b5. He now takes. G takes on f3. I play g takes on f3. I thought this was pretty reasonable. And he checks me. I had no idea if these are going to be like infinite checks or whatnot, but I quickly calculated king b4. If he moves here, I would move up. If he checks me again, I'd move up. If he checks me, again, I can move over here. And then if he checks me again, I then have this square, and then he can't check me. So I think this is a concept in endgames. I don't know if it's like building the ladder or something, but I did know it, and I knew that I could walk my king up to walk the pawn up. So I got very excited because I thought that this was a very simple win, or so I thought. You're about to see some fucking shenanigans. So I move over. He plays h4, which I was surprised about. I play b6. I push the pawn. I thought it made a lot of sense. He plays rook c6, and this is kind of clever. He plays rook c6. He's obviously attacking the pawn. I must move up, which of course is what happens. Doi. I play king b5, and now he's able to get to c3. And I thought that he never was in time to take my pawn, but he's trying to take the pawn and then move back to then basically either sacrifice or if I outrun it, have the check and skewer it. I missed a very important move here, by the way. This should be totally winning. I play b7. To my shock, he does take. Obviously, if I queen, he just moves back. And the move I missed, and I know this because I see this, is I need to just play my rook to c4. And the reason why that's winning is he can't go to b3. My king controls that square. His pawn is blocking him from retreating, and I just make a free queen. So I missed the win very, very cleanly. Instead, when he takes on f3, so he really can't take that pawn, obviously. I instead play king b6 with the idea if he checks, moving over, and I thought I'd be able to block with my rook, but I think I've thrown the game away, maybe. But maybe not, maybe not. He moves king f5. He's now trying to get his king in, which might be a problem. I say screw it. He's gonna sacrifice his rook. It's exactly what happens. And now all of a sudden, when we arrive at this position, he sacrifices rook. I now gasp and I say, wait, am I even winning anymore? Am I losing? Maybe. He plays king e4, and I realize he's gonna get in here, push the pawn, and I'll probably have to sack back. So I count moves. So I do a long calculation, and I'm actually don't have that much time anymore. I'm telling you, I finished the game with 8 minutes or something, or 7 minutes. So I was at 15 minutes. So I didn't want to spend 5 minutes of 15. But I spent a fair amount of time, and I calculated, all right, 1, 2, 3. He can move up. I'd have to maybe move over. Maybe I'm supposed to stay on the second row. I don't know. I could get behind. If I'm here and he pushes, then basically in these positions, I'm actually quicker to his pawn. I always win it. Then maybe I can queen this one. And so I calculated all that stuff, and I thought, okay, I'm safe here. And I breathed a sigh of relief, and I play king c7. I thought this was winning. So I thought. He plays king e3, calculate all this. I was not worried. Play king d8. The idea is I can get behind the pawn. He has to stay glued. When he queens, I would then take in that spot. He'd take, and hopefully, again, counting the moves, my king would basically be able to walk over, kill this one, move up, and then jump to h4, and just queen, have a very easy win. So I thought. Again, I keep saying so I thought. You're going to see why I thought wrong, possibly. So rook d8 is played. He plays king f3. Not a surprise. He's trying to get over. I play king d6. I think I just need to get over there. He plays king g2. I play king e5, threatening the pawn. He plays f3. My idea is to go down. If he pushes the pawn, I pin the pawn. And my king is just close enough, just in time to grab the pawn. And we'll see what happens. So f3 is played. I then play king e4. He plays f2. Not a surprise. I play rook d2. I feel like it's the only move. Well, I guess I could have also gone here. But this pins it, so it forces him to spend a move. If he takes my pawn, I take the pawn, and this is going to be an easy checkmate. I'm going to for sure win that one. But he doesn't do that. He defends like a boss. He plays down. For the record, just so you guys can see what I saw, he takes. Maybe this is actually not so easy. No, this is easy. Because the king is cut off. Anyway, yeah, king g1. And I take. And maybe apparently I'm supposed to go here. And maybe this is a little bit better. Because in this position, the king is here. In this position, the king is here. And so maybe that matters. But I didn't know. I just didn't know. He plays f2. Play h3. I wrote king that he plays king e2, but this seems very strange. Yeah, this seems very strange. I play king g4. No, because now I play king g4. So somehow here. Well, I messed up the moves writing them down because my king was here, was one spot over. Well, so I'm super winning here. Okay. I don't know if you saw this. So I am super winning here. I need to play rook check, and the move is rook check, then f2, and then I'm able to play the king down. God, all right, whatever. Instead, by playing king e4 first, then f2, then d2, now that he plays g1, which is exactly what happens, I take, because apparently if I don't take, okay, both rook check on d1 and takes are equal, right? Takes. Oh, right, I played h3 here. And yeah, anyway, we played, I thought this was still winning. So I messed up the moves a little bit. I'm not sure how, but in this position, when he took, my king was here, one square over, for the record. And the reason why is he took, and then I moved to I took, move 60. He took on f2. I then pushed. This is what happened. Wait, why can't he just go here? What am I missing here? All right, well, somehow okay, it doesn't matter because somehow I have it written where I played h3, he played king e2, I played king g4, so I'm supposed to be here already. I'm here already, but whatever. And then he plays king e3. We end up getting a position here where it's a draw. We play out a lot of these moves, literally. Yeah, here we go. King e4. Then I play king takes on h4. All right, this is right. This is what happens. All right, this is what happens in the game. So we get to this position, but the move ordering, the way we got there is slightly off. I took, and I didn't know that this is not a win. And it's not a win. Yeah, he just kept me stuck on the side. He like marched up. I thought that I'm winning, and I'm not. So he drew. This is basically what happened in the game. We ended up playing 71 moves, and then I stalemated because I thought it's cool. Yeah. And we made a draw. I am embarrassed that I didn't win. I think that Nico defended very well. I felt like there was not a single spot that I was ever worse, but I blew it. I freaking blew it. Boylston Chess Club, February, Swiss. All right, so let's do this. Let's do the review. Kind of curious. Yeah, I played an 86% accuracy. All right, so I was like super winning, and I just blew it. Yeah, white had a winning position, but the game ended in a draw. So I played an 86% accuracy. I would say that I didn't play badly, but obviously I missed my win. Okay, I don't understand it. The computer keeps giving my opponents higher numbers despite me having a better accuracy. It's ridiculous, actually. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can very quickly go over it analysis-wise, like very quickly. This is just the opening, and yeah, and bishop e6 is a mistake. Yeah, I mean, these are the book moves, like going on through. Let me move my score sheet for 1 second. I've been drinking ginger ale lately. Makes me feel better. Okay, so Yeah, this is a bad move. They like c5. They like c5 here. I wasn't even considering c5. Huh. Interesting. C takes, d5 is good too. It's a candidate move, but I should just play c5. Makes sense. Like, it's a massive pawn chain. It makes him move his bishop again. Whatever. This is still fine. He takes. I then play knight c3. It's excellent. Cool. Yeah, bishop e7 was wrong. We were saying that he should just play bishop e6. Where is that? Bishop e6. Okay. Well, he plays bishop e7. Really? They didn't like e4? So e4 is a mistake, apparently. They want me to just play queen c2 and just play from this position. Wow. I thought that I was building a huge center and I was getting all these tempi. Like, this is not really my style, like, getting a huge center. Like I just... Yeah, this is kind of a different style than what I'm used to, and I actually don't think it's that great. This looked good to me. But it's nothing special. They do like my move, queen b3. Alright, well, I'm happy about that. I did find the best move. And he's on queen c8. Yeah, the other moves are considerably worse. In fact, the computer is suggesting actually knight a6, which I would have snapped off in a moment. But alright, so he plays queen c8. It's a good move. I didn't see it, to be honest, but queen c8 in a lot of like black positions. Like there's one position as black that I play that I know that's like the auto move. Yeah, they like my move, bishop c4. I mean, for all the reasons I said, all right, I'm playing pretty well. Castles was his best move. I did know that. Knight f3 that I like. So they like knight f3. No, they like knight g e2 even better. Cool, it's the move I played. So I'm playing a lot of best moves. Like that is the best move. That's good. That's cool. He plays c6, which I thought was a bad move. It's not. It's fine. Computer suggests castling is best. I wish I did. Rook d1 is good too. Yeah. That way you can threaten d6 and force some kind of clarity in the position. I wanted to play that one. I really did. Well, I guess I wrote down c1, but also d1. He then plays a5. Yeah, this was a bad move. And they do like fd1 better than ac1, but they like ac1. So I played the best move here. So I played the best move. All right. Well, I mean, can't argue with that. White is just better here. I liked my position. I thought I was playing pretty decently. He plays the best move. Knight a6, I swear. I wasn't even looking at it. The whole time I was calculating these b5 ideas. And it's just not... I mean, I'm telling you, the whole time I was just calculating this. And I realized this was fine for me. You know? Alright, computer says actually bishop d3 is better. But I was calculating the d takes c6 line. And that computer likes for white as well. Yeah. Again, if you guys can see out the line, this is what I calculated. Basically, take 6, 6, 6, take. All right, they're not even saying to take here. In fact, that is losing. They're just saying go knight takes here, and then you play something like knight d5. Oh, that's a clever move. You play knight d5 here because obviously if they take, you then take the bishop with check. It's a brilliant. Yeah. Shoot, I just spilled ginger ale on myself. Well, that's what I get. That would have been a brilliant. I did see this fork, and I did see in a lot of lines. I didn't see it in this particular line, but all right, well, whatever. All right, I was calculating that out, so that makes me feel pretty good. Actually, my calculations were sharp there. All right, and they like d takes c6. It is the best move here. Yeah, I wrote down that there were like a few moves here I really was considering. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to play here. D takes c, because I was looking at all these like. Basically, I wanted to play rook fd1 as well, which is third best move. They think knight a4, and again, the reason was to jump it in is a very reasonable move too. But at the end of the day, my line was best. And you know what? Credit to Nico. B takes c6 is the best response. I kept calculating bishop takes because it just seemed more natural to me, but it's not as good. He's giving himself this long-term weakness. Now the problem is, for me to have an advantage here, I need to find, and it makes sense because now he no longer is threatening b5. I need to play knight a4 myself. A, to threaten this fork, but also to take away the c5 square. This is a hard move to play because when they play rook b8, your knight looks kind of stupid out there. So let's say I played down here, queen c2 here. They just don't like it. They don't like it going here. It would only be good if I could centralize my queen to like e3 or c3. I wouldn't go to c3 because it takes away an escape jump from the knight. All right, well, instead I play a3, and they don't like this move. Apparently, I thought I had a good opening, but 60 moves in, Nico's played me, you know, not just level. Black is slightly better now. In the post-cap, he liked this move, and I thought it was decent, but it just doesn't do enough, I guess. But he misses the follow-up. Knight c5 immediately, which I was worried about, and I thought I would just go back here, which is what the computer recommends, queen c2, or rook b8 immediately as well. Same deal, basically just making me move my queen to c2, which I saw. Instead, when he plays f5, he's opening the door to this knight a4. Like the computer basically says if I can't play knight a4, I'm worse, and I just don't see that move, to be honest. Here. I wanted to play knight g3 as well. I thought that was one way I could support the pawn. But I just wasn't sure if I'm supposed to give it up or not. And even takes is fine. Instead I push, and this is just worse. I told Nico after the game, I wasn't sure if my e-pawn was a strength or a weakness, in the sense that it was kind of all on its own. I didn't really know if I wanted to play f4. I told him that, like, let's say he does a random move. I didn't want to ever play f4 here, because I told him I was worried about g5 ideas. Apparently that's not good, but I thought that this pawn would get undermined. Okay, apparently it's just terrible for... Well, I don't know if it was in this exact position, but that's what I'm saying as far as why I was a little bit hazy about f4, is because I thought that maybe he'd have some g5 attacking ideas. Instead, he plays rook b8 here. Wow, the computer actually recommends dropping to a2. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't even considering going there, even for a second. I was queen c2 all day. All right, and like the truth is, after queen c2 is played, you know, it's like pretty equal. I thought that he had some long-term weaknesses and that I was a bit better, but it's pretty equal. Like he's played pretty well. Yeah, they like the knight c5 ideas. Just get it in there, get it off the rim. g6 is always an idea. And d8. Yeah, these are all moves he ends up playing, basically. Pretty good move. I just cannot find this knight a4 move at this, any of these junctures to save my life. I didn't think it made sense with the rook here as well, but apparently it's still pretty good. Rook f e1 is one of the top moves. Cool. That's good. He jumps in. It's basically equal. Point 2 is nothing. Alright, so I do play the best move here. I really thought for a while. Okay, both d4 and f4 are very reasonable. Those were the moves I was thinking. Again, with the idea of supporting the e6. So the computer does like my plan. That does make me feel good, to be honest, knowing that my head was at least in the right place. I play knight d4, which is basically the same as f4. Okay. Computer does like my move. And he does play g6. I mean, look, Nico played much better than his rating. I'll just say that. Knight a4, man, they keep wanting me to play knight a4. Now just, trade off these pieces. What do I do here? cd1, rook cd1. Yeah, I still play the best move as well. Yeah, it's not doing much on the c file, so I move it to a file where it does more. Computer does like that idea. I'm happy with myself for that. They like queen c7 and queen b7. I mean, he plays the best move, but the game is just really equal. Okay, b3 I was agonizing. Like, the two moves I was agonizing over are obviously fucking same. Both zeros. I wondered if I played b3, which is, apparently, according to this, a great move. Yeah, they say for him just move back to e6 and prevent me from playing. I thought I would lose my opportunity to play e6. Damn. But maybe this, honestly, maybe b3 is better because it makes, there's a chance he messes up. Like, he needs to play the knight back for equality, and there's a chance he just doesn't, right? Because it's a backwards move. Yeah, b4. That's what I was saying. I would just play b4. And white's a lot better. And white's a lot better. Alright, so where are we in the game? Instead, I just go for it. I say YOLO, e6. It does seem to be the right move in the position. Oh, my back is starting to hurt me. Oh, God. Not now. He takes to the bishop. It's his best guy. I thought that he did the right thing with all these captures as well. They like knight and bishop capture like the same. Take with the knight. They say he can take f takes without going rook takes. Whoops. Let's go back. So he could just play f takes e. Instead, he goes rook takes. And they like my plan. I saw it. This is the knight takes to defend the b2 square. Cool. Now he should take knight takes knight, which is exactly what happens. I consider not taking, but it's a pawn. And yeah, I was considering queen e2. It's the second best move. And then I said, nope, I should be a little bit better here. Obviously, he takes back. And here it's either rook takes on e6 or the move I played, which I thought was a little bit more clever, queen c4. And it's crazy, guys. This is just an equals game. It's zeros. I swear, both I felt like I was just better here, and Nico felt that I was just better here. But the computer says it's just an equal game. Play something like queen g7. We go trade, trade, trade. Okay. Queen e6. Yep. Okay, and I go for it. And now, after this blunder, I am just better. He obviously goes king f8, only move. And I played queen e5, which is the best move. But apparently, knight e3 is also a move. Kind of sacrificing the b pawn, I guess. I don't see it. It's slightly better, even, maybe? Why is this better? Oh, right, because then it hangs the rook. Doi! So he's not actually attacking because I'm threatening the rook. So he does something like to c7, and then where do you want to jump this? They're saying to jump into c4, and I guess the idea is to jump it to like e5, you know, threaten over here. Okay. Could have maybe seen that. I did struggle to activate this knight, to be honest. He moves his king up. Yeah, and the computer is actually recommending not a perpetual, but repeating the position, going up. But instead I take the pawn. And it's like so tempting to take this pawn. It's the second best move, if you see that. Queen takes a5. Because it looks like I'm just getting a clear pawn in a pretty equal endgame, right? So like that can't be wrong, but it's just not correct, I guess. And he immediately goes for the queen trade, and like, yeah, I mean, if you look at it, queen a7, it's the move I wanted to play, is the best move here. It's the best move. Put all the pressure on. I just thought that queen takes on b5 is winning, but it's not. Like, it's plus 0.3. It's an endgame where I'm clearly better because I'm one with the pawn, but like, it's really equal. You don't understand, guys. I was kind of tormenting myself with this game. I mean, look, an 86% accuracy means I didn't play like a superstar. This was not a great game. But anytime I'm over 85%, I played fine. And it looks like I had my chances to win. I just kind of squandered them, you know? And I just trade. And I traded because I just thought it should be winning. I just didn't know. But The move I wanted to play was queen a7, and that's what the computer says is the best move. I should trust my instincts, to be honest. Just to show you the line, I thought I was going to go queen a7, and I thought if he has to play, rook e8, which looks very passive, everything is just really, really, really tied. The computer's actually recommending now queen e3, and I guess the reason why this is strong is this is pinned. If he moves, you're going to take the rook with check. Yeah? Seems pretty good. He can't move anything. So let's say he moves his queen to try to get a little closer. I guess you can then just start pushing the pawns. b4. Or knight c3. Get my knight in the game. And white is +2. This should be a very comfortable endgame for me, Alright, I'm feeling quite tired. I've talked quite a lot. I traded. It looks like I traded into a basically drawn endgame. I just didn't know. I just don't know any better. I'm up a pawn. This aesthetically looked very pleasing, but computer says I should not be pleased by this. Move my king over. Alright, let's quickly go through these moves. He's playing pretty well. So far, both. Excuse me. So far, both Nico and I, looking at these moves, have basically made all the best moves. Yeah, rook b8 was better. I said, yeah, rook c4 is a slight mistake, slight inaccuracy. Because I can play b5. b5, b4. Interesting. Interesting idea. I just sack the pawn back. I just say, fuck it, he's going to win it back. But maybe I should have played ball a little bit more. They're like f3. This lets me walk my king in. Here we go. f4 was a bad move. They like my plan. Walk my king in. I should play h3 here, which makes sense as well, getting off a dark square. But this is still good. h5. h3 is the move. Okay. My move, king c2, is 0.08 worse, so of course they just give me a good, which is stupid. Yeah, and him trading, I knew trading was really bad when he did it. I just didn't capitalize. He really shouldn't trade the bishop for the knight. That's really shouldn't happen. B takes c3 is a little bit better. I don't know why. No, okay. Now they're saying king takes is better, and I did go king takes. I just didn't win this position. b4, best move. Pushes. I push. He goes back. Rather than push the pawn here, which now they're saying b5 is the best move, but also rook d4 is very reasonable. Doesn't he just move the king up? I don't know. Alright, whatever. Okay, g takes, g takes. I mean, this is +3. I just thought this was so over. Yeah, b4, pushes. b6, best move. b5, best move. Goes down. b7, best move. And this is my blunder. Okay. So this is where I threw the game away. Oh, I see. You should play the rook up here. And the reason why is now, if they check you, before you wreck you, you block with a rook. This is a concept I actually do know about. So then if he takes, look at this. Boom. It's over. It's all over, baby. Instead, he's giving me a chance to basically take the I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. Just play rook b2, and then he doesn't have these checks. I'm just gonna make a queen. Alright, well, honestly, I didn't deserve to win this one. I'll just say it here. Nico played very well. He defended like a boss. He deserved the draw. I didn't deserve the win. Anyway, I threw it all away. Look at this. Pathetic. Absolute pathetic. And then I just scrambled to make sure I wasn't losing here. They like this move. Apparently I'm winning again. They like this move. And this is where I throw it all away again. Endgames are hard. I need to check him here first. And then when he plays f2, now I can play f4. I don't see how this position's any different. So now I check him. Makes queen. I take. He takes. I move over. And apparently this is just winning after I land h3. Oh god. Well, I'm gonna have to play much better to win games in the open, that's for sure. And this is just a draw. Alright, this has gone long enough. I draw, you know, what can I say? I think that Nico is underrated, of course. You know, but I had my chances and I blew them. So 86% is pretty good, actually. You know, I said anything over 85% I'm not going to get upset about. But I really wish I had won this game. I'll just say that. I wish I had won. Yeah, Nico has 14 or so provisional games, 1263. Just kind of curious. Where's Nico? Oh, I didn't play him then. He lost to Justin. He beat Haley, and he beat Glenn. Oh. I mean, maybe I shouldn't feel so bad. I mean, he's definitely underrated. Okay, I spilled ginger ale on my computer chair. That's not good. Yeah, I mean, Haley is pretty good. Glenn, I think, is pretty strong too. So maybe Nico's just really underrated. Like, that's possible, right? Let's double check this one as well. I'm just curious. Oh, looks like he crushed. He drew Mark Kolensky, who's like an older fella. He's rating floored. Very nice guy. I played him once and beat him. He kind of threw in the towel kind of early. And then it looks like he won all of his other games. Granted, against lower rated competition. I've never played any of these three people. I think John Elsey plays a lot. Maybe Cusick does as well. But I've never played them. But 3.5 out of 4 is still no joke. So Nico is probably just underrated, to be honest. I mean, look. I'll say this for like the last time. I had my chances. At no point was I losing. I had an edge. I was kind of building on it. I had a nice game here. I was totally winning. I literally just missed the win a few times, obviously. But I at least was never like losing at all. Like I didn't have any blunders. I just missed some wins, basically. It happens. I am tired though, and so I'm gonna call it here. Have a good night.